The small alien ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, its hull scorched and battered, barely holding together. It was a miracle it hadn't disintegrated on entry. The vessel, no larger than a commercial airliner, emitted a faint, irregular hum as it wobbled toward the surface. Earth's defense systems had detected it hours earlier, and now military jets escorted it to a remote landing site in the desert. The world held its breath, unsure whether this was an invasion, a diplomatic mission, or something else entirely. When the ship finally touched down, a tense silence followed. Soldiers surrounded the vessel, weapons at the ready, while scientists and diplomats watched from a safe distance. The hatch opened slowly, revealing a group of frail, humanoid figures. They were small, their skin a pale, almost translucent blue, with large, expressive eyes that radiated fear and exhaustion. They moved cautiously, their limbs trembling as they stepped onto the dusty ground. One of them, slightly taller than the rest, raised a hand in what appeared to be a gesture of peace. The leader of the aliens, who introduced themselves as the KRYLL, spoke in a soft, melodic voice. Through a hastily assembled translation device, they explained their plight. The KRYLL had been cast out by the galactic community, deemed too weak to contribute to the interstellar order. They had no advanced weapons, no formidable technology, and no physical strength. Their home world had been stripped from them, and they had been denied refuge by every species they approached. Earth was their last hope. Humanity listened, torn between skepticism and compassion. The KRYL story was heartbreaking, but Earth was still recovering from its own struggles, wars, resource shortages, and the lingering scars of division. Some argued that taking the KRYL would only invite trouble, especially if the galactic powers that rejected them decided to intervene. Others, however, saw an opportunity to prove that humanity was more than just another self-interested species. After hours of debate, a decision was made. The KRYL would be granted temporary shelter under strict supervision. The KRYL were moved to a secure facility, where scientists began to study them. They were fragile, yes, but there was something about their demeanor that inspired empathy. They were gentle, cooperative, and deeply grateful for the kindness they had been shown. As days turned into weeks, the KRYL began to share more about their culture. They spoke of their love for art, music, and storytelling, and their belief in the inherent value of all life. They had no concept of war or violence, which made their exile all the more tragic. Despite their peaceful nature, the KRYL carried a heavy burden of guilt. They feared that their presence would bring harm to humanity, and they often expressed their willingness to leave if it meant protecting their new hosts. But humanity, for all its flaws, had a stubborn streak of compassion. The KRYL's humility and honesty had won over many of their skeptics, and a growing number of humans began to see them not as a liability, but as an opportunity to prove that kindness could be a strength. As the KRYL settled into their new home, tensions began to rise on a global scale. Not everyone agreed with the decision to shelter them. Some nations saw it as a reckless gamble, while others feared the repercussions of defying galactic powers that had cast the KRYL out. Protests erupted in some cities, while others celebrated humanity's decision as a defining moment of moral courage. The KRYL, aware of the discord they had caused, retreated further into themselves, their guilt growing with each passing day. But then, something unexpected happened. The KRYL, in their quiet way, began to contribute to humanity in ways no one had anticipated. They shared their knowledge of energy conservation, helping to improve Earth's struggling power grids. They taught humans how to grow crops in harsh conditions, offering solutions to food shortages. And they did it all without asking for anything in return, their gratitude evident in every action. Slowly but surely, the KRYL began to win over even their harshest critics. Yet, even as humanity and the KRYL grew closer, a shadow loomed on the horizon. The Galactic Council, the very entity that had exiled the KRYL, had taken notice of Earth's defiance. A message arrived, cold and uncompromising. Hand over the KRYL or face the consequences. Humanity was being tested not just by the Council, but by its own values. Would they stand by their decision to protect the weak, or would they bow to the pressure of a galaxy that saw strength only in power and dominance? The stage was set for a confrontation that would define humanity's place in the cosmos. The KRYLL, once seen as a burden, had become a symbol of something greater, a chance to prove that even the smallest acts of kindness could change the course of history. And as the first signs of the Galactic Council's fleet appeared on the edge of the solar system, humanity prepared to make its stand. The KRYLL, though fearful, stood beside them, ready to fight for the first home they had ever known. Together, they would face the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as defenders of a new way of life. The Galactic Council's message arrived without warning, a cold mechanical transmission that echoed through every communication channel on Earth. It was brief and to the point. The KRYLL would be handed over immediately, or humanity would face the full wrath of the galaxy's most powerful alliance. The Council's tone was dismissive, as though Earth's defiance was nothing more than a minor inconvenience to be swiftly corrected. They viewed the KRYLL as a blight, a species unworthy of existence, and humanity's decision to shelter them as an act of rebellion that could not be tolerated. Earth's leaders convened in an emergency session, the weight of the Council's ultimatum pressing heavily on their shoulders. The debate was fierce, with some arguing that humanity was in no position to challenge the galactic powers. They pointed to Earth's limited technology, its fractured political landscape, and the sheer scale of the Council's military might. To defy them would be suicide, they claimed, and the KRYLL were not worth the risk. But others stood firm, their voices filled with conviction. They argued that humanity's values were at stake, that to abandon the KRYLL would be to betray everything they claimed to stand for. Compassion, they insisted, was not a weakness but a strength, and it was time to prove it. In the end, the decision was made. Humanity would not bow to the Council's demands. The KRYLL, though fearful of the consequences, were moved by humanity's resolve. They had spent their lives being told they were worthless, a burden to the galaxy, but here was a species willing to risk everything for their sake. It was a gesture they would never forget. Yet, even as they expressed their gratitude, the KRYLL offered to leave, to spare humanity the coming storm. But the humans refused. If the galaxy saw strength only in power and dominance, then it was time to show them another kind of strength, one born of unity and courage. Preparations began in earnest. Earth's militaries, though outmatched by the Council's advanced technology, rallied together in a way they never had before. Nations put aside their differences, pooling resources and expertise to fortify the planet's defenses. Scientists worked around the clock, studying the KRYLL's knowledge of energy fields and applying it to create new weapons and shields. The KRYLL, though physically frail, contributed in their own way, using their unique abilities to enhance Earth's technology. It was a race against time, and every moment counted. The Council's fleet arrived sooner than expected, a massive armada of sleek, menacing ships that blotted out the stars. They descended on Earth with the confidence of a predator toying with its prey, their demands repeated with icy precision. Humanity's response was clear. They would not surrender to KRYLL. The Council, unaccustomed to defiance, reacted with swift brutality. Their ships opened fire, raining destruction on Earth's surface. But humanity was ready. The planet's newly fortified defenses held firm, their shields absorbing the initial barrage. The KRYLL, working alongside human engineers, had managed to create a network of energy fields that protected key cities and military installations. The battle that followed was fierce and chaotic. Earth's forces, though outnumbered and outgunned, fought with a determination that surprised the Council. Pilots in outdated fighters dodged and weaved through the enemy's advanced weaponry, their skill and bravery making up for their technological disadvantage. On the ground, soldiers held their positions, their resolve unshaken even as the sky burned above them. The KRYLL, though terrified, refused to hide. They worked tirelessly to maintain the energy shields, their fragile bodies pushed to the limit as they channeled their abilities to keep the defenses intact. As the battle raged on, something extraordinary happened. The KRYLL, in a moment of desperation, tapped into a power they had long suppressed. Their ability to manipulate energy fields, which they had used only for minor tasks, suddenly surged to new heights. A brilliant, shimmering barrier erupted around Earth, stronger and more expansive than anything they created before. The Council's weapons, once so devastating, now bounced harmlessly off the shield. The KRYLL, their eyes glowing in otherworldly light, had unlocked a hidden potential, one that even they had not known existed. The tide of the battle began to turn. Humanity, emboldened by the KRYLL's newfound strength, launched a counterattack. Ships that had been on the defensive now surged forward, their weapons bolstered by the KRYLL's energy enhancements. The Council's fleet, caught off guard by the sudden shift, began to falter. Their once imposing ships now seemed vulnerable, their commanders scrambling to adapt to a fight they had not anticipated. For the first time, the Council faced an enemy that refused to back down, an enemy that fought not for conquest, but for survival and the right to protect those who could not protect themselves. By the time the Council's forces retreated, Earth was battered but unbroken. The cost had been high, with cities in ruins and countless lives lost, but humanity had proven something to itself and to the galaxy. They had stood against overwhelming odds, not for power or glory, but for the simple belief that every life had value. The KRYLL, once seen as weak and insignificant, had played a crucial role in the victory, their hidden strength turning the tide of the battle. Together, they had faced the galaxy's wrath and emerged stronger for it. But the fight was far from over. The Council, humiliated by their defeat, would not let the matter rest. They would return, and next time, they would come with even greater force. Humanity and the KRYLL knew this, and they prepared for the challenges ahead. The bond between them had grown stronger, forged in the fires of battle, and they were determined to face whatever came next together. The galaxy had underestimated them once, but it would not make that mistake again. The KRYLL's secret was revealed in the aftermath of the battle, as humanity began to assess the damage and regroup. Their energy manipulation abilities, once thought to be limited to minor tasks, had surged to unprecedented levels during the fight. The shimmering barrier they created around Earth was unlike anything humanity had ever seen, a testament to a power that had lain dormant within them for generations. The KRYLL, hesitant at first, explained that their abilities had always been tied to their emotions. Fear and desperation had unlocked something deeper, a well of strength they had never dared to tap into before. Humanity was quick to recognize the potential of this discovery. Scientists and engineers worked closely with the KRYLL, studying their abilities and finding ways to integrate them into Earth's defenses and technology. The KRYLL, though still physically frail, proved to be invaluable partners. Their energy manipulation allowed them to repair damaged infrastructure, enhance weapon systems, and even create new forms of sustainable energy. Cities that had been reduced to rubble began to rise again, their buildings reinforced with energy fields that made them nearly impervious to attack. The KRYLL, once seen as a burden, were now at the heart of humanity's efforts to rebuild and prepare for the next confrontation. As the days passed, the bond between humans and KRYLL grew stronger. The KRYLL, who had spent their lives being told they were weak and useless, began to see themselves in a new light. Humanity's unwavering support and belief in them gave them a sense of purpose they had never known. They taught humans about their culture, their art, their music, their philosophy of harmony and coexistence. In return, humans share their own stories of resilience and determination, showing the KRYLL that strength came in many forms. Together, they began to envision a future where their two species could thrive side by side, not just as allies, but as equals. But the Galactic Council was not idle. News of their defeat had spread across the galaxy, and their reputation was at stake. They could not allow a backwater planet and a supposedly weak species to defy them so openly. Their next move was swift and calculated. A massive fleet, far larger than the one that had attacked Earth before, was assembled. This time, they would not underestimate their opponents. The Council's commanders were determined to crush humanity and the KRYLL, to make an example of them that would deter any other species from challenging their authority. Earth's leaders knew the attack was coming. The KRYLL's enhanced sensors, combined with humanity's growing network of deep space probes, detected the fleet long before it reached the solar system. There was no time to waste. Every available resource was poured into preparing for the battle. The KRYLL worked tirelessly, their energy manipulation abilities pushed to the limit as they fortified Earth's defenses. They created a series of energy shields around the planet, each one stronger than the last, and enhanced humanity's ships and weapons with their unique technology. The humans, in turn, trained relentlessly, their determination fueled by the knowledge that this fight would decide their fate. When the Council's fleet arrived, the scale of their force was staggering. Hundreds of ships, each one bristling with advanced weaponry, descended on Earth like a swarm of locusts. The Council's message was brief and final: surrender or be annihilated. Humanity's response was equally clear. They would not back down. The battle began with a deafening roar as the Council's ships opened fire, their weapons lighting up the sky. Earth's defenses held firm, the KRL's energy shields absorbing the initial barrage. But the sheer volume of firepower was overwhelming, and cracks began to appear in the shields. The KRYLL, their bodies trembling with effort, poured every ounce of their strength into maintaining the barriers. Their eyes glowed with an intense light as they channeled their abilities, their fragile forms pushed to the brink of collapse. Humanity's ships, enhanced by KRYLL technology, surged forward to meet the enemy. The battle was fierce and chaotic, with neither side willing to yield. The Council's commanders, confident in their superior numbers, pressed the attack, but they soon found themselves facing an enemy that refused to break. As the fight raged on, the KRYLL made a desperate decision. Drawing on their deepest reserves of power, they unleashed a massive energy pulse that rippled through the battlefield. The pulse disrupted the Council's weapons and communications, throwing their fleet into disarray. Humanity's forces seized the opportunity, launching a coordinated counterattack that drove the enemy back. The Council's ships, once so imposing, now faltered under the relentless assault. Their commanders, realizing they had underestimated their opponents once again, ordered a retreat. The victory was hard-won, but it was a victory nonetheless. Earth's defenses had held, and the KRL's hidden strength had proven to be the key to turning the tide. The bond between humans and KRYLL had grown even stronger, forged in the fires of battle. Together, they had faced the galaxy's most powerful force and emerged victorious. But they knew the fight was far from over. The Council would not accept defeat so easily, and the next confrontation would be even more challenging. For now, though, there was a moment of respite. The KRYLL, once outcast, had found a home and a purpose. Humanity, once divided, had come together in the face of a common enemy. They had proven that strength was not just about power and dominance, but about unity, compassion, and the willingness to stand up for what was right. The galaxy had taken notice, and the story of Earth and the KRYLL was beginning to spread. Other species, long oppressed by the Council, began to see a glimmer of hope. The balance of power was shifting, and the seeds of a new galactic order had been planted. The Galactic Council's defeat at Earth's doorstep sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For the first time in living memory, a species had not only defied the Council, but had also emerged victorious. The story of humanity and the KRYLL spread like wildfire, carried by traders, explorers, and refugees who had long suffered under the Council's oppressive rule. Whispers of rebellion began to stir in the farthest reaches of the galaxy, as other oppressed species dared to hope that change was possible. The Council, desperate to maintain its grip on power, launched a final, desperate assault on Earth, determined to crush the growing resistance before it could spread. The Council's fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Thousands of ships, each one a marvel of advanced technology, descended on Earth with a single purpose: to erase humanity and the KRYLL from existence. The scale of the attack was overwhelming, but humanity and the KRYLL were ready. The bond between the two species had grown stronger with each battle, and their combined strength had become something greater than the sum of its parts. The KRL's energy manipulation abilities, now fully realized, had transformed Earth's defenses into an impenetrable fortress. Humanity's ingenuity and determination had turned their ships and weapons into a force to be reckoned with. Together, they stood united, ready to face the Council's wrath. The battle began with a deafening roar as the Council's fleet opened fire, their weapons lighting up the sky with blinding flashes of energy. Earth's defenses held firm, the KRL's energy shield absorbing the initial barrage with ease. Humanity's ships, enhanced by KRYL technology, surged forward to meet the enemy, their pilots displaying unmatched skill and bravery. The fight was fierce and chaotic, with neither side willing to yield. The Council's commanders, confident in their superior numbers, pressed the attack, but they soon found themselves facing an enemy that refused to break. As the battle raged on, the KRYLL made a bold decision. Drawing on their deepest reserves of power, they unleashed a massive energy pulse that rippled through the battlefield. The pulse disrupted the Council's weapons and communications, throwing their fleet into disarray. Humanity's forces seized the opportunity, launching a coordinated counterattack that drove the enemy back. The Council's ships, once so imposing, now faltered under relentless assault. Their commanders, realizing they had underestimated their opponents once again, ordered a retreat. But this time, humanity and the KRYLL were not content to let them go. In a daring move, humanity's fleet, supported by the KRYLL's energy enhancements, pursued the retreating Council forces. They followed them to the heart of the galaxy, where the Council's headquarters stood as a symbol of their dominance. The final confrontation was brief but decisive. The Council's defenses, though formidable, were no match for the combined strength of humanity and the KRYLL. The headquarters fell, and with it, the Council's grip on the galaxy was broken. In the aftermath of the battle, a new era began. The Galactic Council, once the undisputed rulers of the galaxy, was no more. In its place, a new alliance emerged, one founded on the principles of equality, compassion, and mutual respect. Humanity and the KRYLL stood at the forefront of this new order, their bonds serving as a symbol of what could be achieved when different species work together. The KRYLL, once outcasts, were now respected members of the galactic community, their unique abilities valued and celebrated. Humanity, once divided, had found unity and purpose in the fight for a better future. The galaxy itself began to change. Species that had long suffered under the Council's rule now found their voices, joining the new alliance and contributing their own strengths and talents. Trade routes reopened, cultures flourished, and the galaxy became a more vibrant and diverse place. The story of Earth and the KRYLL became a legend, a reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness and courage could change the course of history. As the years passed, humanity and the KRYLL continued to work together, exploring the galaxy and building a future based on the values they had fought so hard to defend. The KRYLL, once so fragile and uncertain, had found a home and a purpose. Humanity, once divided and struggling, had become a beacon of hope for the galaxy. Together, they had faced the galaxy's darkest forces and emerged victorious, proving that strength was not just about power and dominance, but about unity, compassion, and the willingness to stand up for what was right. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would humanity or the KRYLL. They had forged a new path, one that would inspire generations to come. The story of their struggle and triumph will be told for centuries, a testament to the power of hope, courage, and the unbreakable bond between two species that had dared to dream of a better future. And as they looked out at the stars, they knew that their journey was just beginning. The galaxy was vast, and there were still many challenges to face, but they would face them together, united in their belief that every life had value, and that even the smallest light could shine in the darkest of times.